You are translating in your head right now, aren't you? And while you are searching for that perfect grammar rule, the conversation just moved on without you.
It is the worst feeling in the world. You are standing there. You know exactly what you want to say, but there is this invisible wall.
Exactly. The mental dictionary trap. People treat English like a heavy burden, like a punishment they have to endure to get a better job or pass an exam. And that right there is the root of the failure.
Because we are taught that it is a subject. You sit at a desk, you memorize rules, you take a test. If you get an A, you know English. If you get a C, you are terrible at it.
Which is completely false. Think about how children learn. They do not memorize the past participle before asking for a glass of water. They just speak. They make terrible mistakes. They laugh, and they repeat. They are addicted to the connection.
Addicted. That is a strong word to use for a language.
But it is the only word that works. Look, I was talking to a software engineer in Austin last week. Brilliant guy. But he was terrified of speaking up in meetings because of his accents and his grammar. His career was stalling not because of his coding skills, but because he was waiting for his English to be perfect.
Perfection kills progress.
It completely paralyzes you. There is a concept in psycholinguistics called the affective filter. When your anxiety is high, your brain literally blocks language acquisition. You could stare at a grammar book for 10 hours, and your brain will retain nothing because it is in a state of stress.
Wait, so the more I stress about learning English, the less my brain actually learns?
Yes, stress is the enemy of fluency. That is why addiction is the goal. Addiction comes from interest and emotion. You have to make English your friend, not your fear.
How do you do that, though? If someone is listening right now and they hate studying, how do they suddenly fall in love with it?
You stop studying.
Just stop?
Stop treating it like an exam. Connect it to your actual life. If you love cooking, stop reading boring English dialogues about going to the post office. Watch Gordon Ramsay yell at people in the kitchen. If you love business, listen to finance podcasts. The brain remembers emotions, not rules.
That makes so much sense. Because when you are enjoying the content, you forget that it is even in English.
Exactly. You are absorbing it naturally. But there is a second piece to this. Environment.
Right, but most people listening to this probably do not live in an English-speaking country. They are not in New York or London.
You do not need to fly to New York to be in an English environment. Your real environment is right in your pocket. Your phone.
Oh, changing the language settings.
Yes, change your phone language to English. Change your apps. Your brain loves familiarity. If your phone is in your native language, English feels alien. If you force English onto your screen every single day, it becomes normal. Comfort becomes addiction.
I have to admit, I tried that once with Spanish. I got so frustrated trying to find my alarm clock settings that I changed it back after 2 days.
Because you did not push through the discomfort phase. The first 3 days feel rough, but after that, you start learning words subconsciously. You do not need to study the word settings or notifications. You just know them.
That is passive learning.
It is exposure. Daily exposure is far more powerful than sitting down for a 3-hour study session once a week. Small daily connections beat massive weekly efforts every single time.
Okay, but what about speaking? I can change my phone settings, I can listen to podcasts, but eventually I have to open my mouth. And that is where people freeze.
Right, because when they open their mouth, they are doing 2 jobs at once. They are thinking in their native language, and they are translating into English. Translation is the ultimate enemy of fluency.
You mean the lag, that awful 3-second delay where you are staring blankly at the person.
Yes, and in those 3 seconds, your confidence completely shatters. You lose your train of thought, you have to start visualizing, not translating. Look at a table. Do not think of the word for table in your native language. Just look at it and say table. Connect the English word directly to the object.
So basically, revert to being a child.
Exactly. And start narrating your life internally. While you are making coffee, think, I need hot water. Keep it incredibly simple. Do not try to form complex philosophical arguments in English on day 1.
That is interesting. It builds a safe space inside your own head. There is no one there to judge you if you mess up the grammar.
Precisely. But you also need physical practice. My favorite method for this is shadowing.
Shadowing? Like repeating what an actor says in a movie?
Yes, but immediately. You listen to a short audio clip and you repeat it right after they speak. You copy their speed, their rhythm, their tone. You do not stop if you make a mistake. You just keep moving.
It sounds like a game.
Scientific, yet accessible. Because it is. And games are addictive. When you do shadowing for just 10 minutes a day, your mouth muscles actually get used to the physical shapes of English words. A lot of people struggle because their native language uses completely different facial muscles.
I never thought about the physical aspect of it. We always think of language as purely mental.
Language is physical. It is sound waves produced by your throat and tongue. If you only read silently, your mouth remains untrained. You have to speak out loud, even if it is just to yourself while walking the dog.
All right, so we have environment, we have ending the translation habit, and we have physical practice like shadowing. What is the catch? Why do people still fail?
Motivation.
Lack of it?
No, reliance on it. People think they need to be motivated every single day. That is a trap. Motivation is like the weather. Some days it is sunny, some days it is raining. If you wait for motivation, you will quit.
So what replaces it? Discipline?
Consistency. Habits. You do not need motivation to brush your teeth. You just do it. Make English a fixed, tiny habit. 10 minutes a day. Do not break the chain. Even if you are exhausted, listen to a 2-minute audio. Keep the habit alive.
It is interesting because we often set these massive goals. I'm going to study for 3 hours every Saturday. And by Saturday, you are tired from work and you just binge watch a show instead.
Exactly. And then the guilt sets in. Guilt destroys addiction. If you want to get addicted to English, it has to feel light. It has to feel like a quick win.
Quick wins. I love that. But let's talk about the real monster in the room. Fear.
The fear of judgment.
Yes, the fear of sounding stupid. You can have the best environment, shadow every day, but when you are talking to a native speaker, your heart rate spikes.
Listen to me very carefully. Silence is dangerous. Every time you choose to stay silent because you are afraid of making a mistake, you reinforce the fear. Fluency loves courage.
But people do care about grammar, don't they? If you mess up, they might judge your intelligence.
No, they don't. Think about it. When someone speaks your native language with a heavy accent and broken grammar, do you think they are stupid? Or do you try to help them communicate their message?
That is a great point. I actually respect them for trying.
Exactly. Real communication is simple. People care about the feeling, the message, the connection. They do not care if you use the present perfect continuous correctly. Speak to connect, not to impress.
Speak to connect, not to impress. That changes the entire dynamic.
It changes your identity. You stop saying, I am bad at English, and you start saying, I am an English speaker. Identity shapes behavior. Once you see yourself as someone who uses English every day, the fear just melts away.
It all comes back to that initial idea, becoming addicted, making it a part of who you are.
Right. Do not force it. Build an environment. Think directly, shadow daily, stay consistent, and speak with courage. That is how you stop learning English and start living it.
And the next time you find yourself frozen, searching for that perfect word,
just say it wrong. Say it wrong loudly and proudly. The fluency will follow.